It was just past midnight when Elena Rivera quietly pushed her cleaning cart down the long, silent halls of the Starter Center at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The world outside was fast asleep, but here, amidst the echoes of forgotten conversations and the faint hum of dormant computers, she moved with purpose. Though invisible to most, she was far from aimless. At 27, Elena wasn't like the others who walked these marble floors. She wasn't a student anymore. She wasn't a researcher. Instead, she was the campus cleaner, the one who went unnoticed by professors and students alike. The same people who dreamed of revolutionizing the world with algorithms and ideas glanced past her like she was air. But Elena carried a secret, one born from years of quiet observation and relentless determination. 3.5 years ago, Elena was a mathematics major with a concentration in cryptography. She was the quiet girl from Queens who always sat in the back of the lecture hall, her notebooks filled with complex equations and coded messages no one else bothered to decode. Though she had the knowledge, the spark of innovation that could turn theory into breakthrough eluded her professors. They labeled her competent but unremarkable. Life, however, had plans far more complicated than textbooks or grades. A phone call shattered her world, a voice trembling with pain, speaking of failing kidneys, dialysis, and mounting medical bills that stretched beyond any hope of payment. Her mother was sick, and Elena's dreams crumbled beneath the weight of responsibility. Unable to afford school, Elena dropped out. The halls that once echoed with her silent determination now saw only her shadow as she worked nights, cleaning classrooms she once occupied, wiping away chalk marks of theories she still longed to understand. But every whiteboard wiped clean was a line of code absorbed, every abandoned textbook a lesson learned in secret. While the world slept, Elena's mind stayed awake, piecing together fragments of knowledge others discarded. One night, as she moved past a forgotten terminal, a screen flickered with a puzzle, an encrypted message no one had solved. It was said to be impossible, a cryptographic challenge that had stumped experts worldwide. Elena saw it differently. It wasn't a challenge. It was an invitation. She sat down, her fingers tracing the symbols, her mind untangling layers of encryption, like threads of a tapestry. Hours passed, the cold air brushing past her face unnoticed, and then as dawn crept in, the puzzle unraveled beneath her touch. What she had solved wasn't just a game. It was a breakthrough, a new way to secure digital assets, something the tech world desperately needed but hadn't found. Word spread fast. The puzzle was known in elite circles, and whoever solved it was a genius. The problem? Nobody knew who the solver was, but Elena was ready to step out of the shadows. This story isn't just about cryptography or puzzles. It's about the courage to believe in yourself when the world says you don't belong, about resilience when life knocks you down, and about genius that doesn't need permission to shine. If you've ever felt invisible or underestimated, if you've ever wondered whether your dreams matter, then Elena's journey will remind you that sometimes the greatest power lies not in titles or recognition, but in quiet determination and the refusal to give up. Elena's story is just beginning, and it's about to change everything. Elena's breakthrough didn't come with fanfare or applause. No one in the polished halls of MIT noticed the quiet cleaner who had cracked the unsolvable crypto puzzle. But deep inside, she felt a flicker of hope. Hope that her knowledge, long hidden beneath layers of silence and struggle, could finally have a voice. Days after that night, Elena returned to her routine, pushing the cart through corridors heavy with history and brilliance. Yet now every surface she cleaned seemed to pulse with new meaning. Those complex equations and blockchain algorithms, once distant mysteries, now whispered their secrets to her, fueling a fire she thought had been extinguished. She began working, in secret, developing her solution into something more than a one-time success. Her nights became filled with scribbled notes, coded snippets, and lines of Python that she taught herself, piecing together a robust cryptographic method designed to resist even the most advanced quantum computers. But the world outside her quiet universe was not kind. Elena's financial struggles deepened. Her mother's health deteriorated, medical bills piled higher, and the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her shoulders. She could have given up. Many would have. But something inside refused to break. One evening, while wiping down a discarded laptop left in a classroom, she found an email notification that changed everything. It was from an anonymous sender, subject line, "Your work is remarkable. We need to talk." Curiosity and caution warred inside her as she opened the message. The sender was a well-known tech millionaire, a visionary who had built an empire on disruptive technology and was now turning his gaze toward the future of cryptography. He had been following the puzzle, tracking every attempt to solve it, and now he knew someone had succeeded. The breakthrough was groundbreaking, exactly what his company needed to secure the next generation of digital assets. But the email didn't reveal his identity fully. It was an invitation to meet in secret, a chance for Elena to step out from the shadows and into a world that had long seemed beyond her reach. The opportunity was both exhilarating and terrifying. Would she be ready to face a world that had always overlooked her? Could she trust this stranger who promised recognition but whose world was foreign and intimidating? Elena wrestled with doubt, fear, and hope. Yet, beneath it all, a quiet voice urged her forward. This was the moment she had been waiting for. The chance to prove that her knowledge, her passion, and her resilience could change everything, so she accepted. The journey ahead would test her limits, challenging her intellect, her courage, and her sense of self. But Elena Rivera was no longer just a shy campus cleaner. She was a force awakening, a mind ready to reshape the future, and the world was about to take notice. Elena stepped into the sleek, glass-walled conference room, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The man waiting for her was exactly as the email had described, a tech titan whose innovations had transformed industries, yet here he was, looking at her with genuine curiosity rather than judgment. He didn't see the shy cleaner she had been, or the struggles etched into her past. He saw the mind that had cracked the crypto puzzle that so many had failed to solve, and he was ready to offer her a chance to change not just her life, but the entire world. "Your work has the power to protect billions of dollars in digital assets," he said, voice calm, but charged with excitement. "With this, we can build the future of security, one that can withstand the challenges quantum computing will bring. But I want you on my team, Elena. Not as a consultant, not as a fleeting genius, but as a core part of this vision." Elena's mind raced. She dreamed of moments like this, yet now that it was here, she questioned if she belonged. Could someone like her, who had been overlooked, dismissed, and told she didn't fit, really stand alongside the brightest minds in technology? The answer came in the quiet resolve she carried all these years, the resilience forged in hardship and perseverance. "I'm ready," she said softly, but with the weight of steel behind her words. Her acceptance marked the beginning of a transformation. No longer just a silent observer, Elena was now at the center of innovation, contributing ideas that challenged norms and pushed boundaries. She worked tirelessly, often late into the night, translating her deep understanding of cryptography into practical, revolutionary solutions. Yet, the journey wasn't without obstacles. The world outside was still skeptical. Colleagues questioned her background, doubted her abilities. But Elena met every challenge with humility and unwavering determination, slowly winning respect not through words but through undeniable results. Meanwhile, back home, her mother's health improved steadily. The financial strain eased by Elena's newfound success and support from her tech mentor. But Elena never forgot the nights she spent alone in the quiet corridors of MIT, the moments of despair, and the fire that had kept her moving forward. Her story became a beacon, proof that talent can thrive even in the most unlikely places. The true genius doesn't need permission, and that sometimes the most powerful revolutions begin in silence. Elena Rivera was no longer invisible. She was a symbol of hope, courage, and the extraordinary potential hidden within those who dared to believe in themselves. Elena's life had transformed, But the road ahead was far from easy. Each day brought new challenges, not only in the high-stakes world of cutting-edge technology but also within herself. The quiet girl who once cleaned empty classrooms was now thrust into boardrooms and brainstorming sessions with some of the brightest minds in the industry. At times, the pressure felt overwhelming. She remembered the early mornings when her mother's frail voice on the phone was the only thing keeping her grounded. Though her mother's health was improving, the emotional toll of years of hardship lingered, reminding Elena of the journey she'd endured. It was a reminder that success was not just about personal achievement, but about lifting those she loved out of the darkness. In the tech giant's company, Elena faced skepticism. Some questioned how someone with her background could contribute to complex projects, but Elena didn't let their doubts shake her. Instead, she let her work speak. Her algorithms improved, security protocols, making systems more resilient against cyber threats and quantum attacks. Slowly, respect grew, not because she demanded it, but because she earned it. Despite the growing recognition, Elena stayed humble. She often visited the campus where she once walked unnoticed, speaking to students and staff, encouraging those who felt invisible or underestimated. She shared her story quietly, knowing that true inspiration didn't need a spotlight. It needed authenticity. One evening, as she walked the familiar corridors, Elena found herself standing before a whiteboard covered in equations and notes. The same place where she once absorbed knowledge in silence now felt like a testament to how far she'd come. She reached out and touched the surface gently, feeling a profound connection to the person she had been and the person she had become. Her journey was a powerful reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary talents are found in the most unlikely places. It proved that brilliance and determination don't belong only to those in the spotlight, but to anyone brave enough to believe in their potential. Elena's story echoed far beyond the halls of MIT. It became a call to everyone who ever felt overlooked, a promise that the quietest voices can create the loudest changes, and that the power to change the world lies within each of us, if only we dare to reach for it. She stood before the global stage, lights dimmed, thousands watching, but Elena Rivera wasn't nervous, not this time. The timidness that once clung to her like a shadow was gone, replaced by a calm strength earned through struggle, silence, and countless nights of unseen brilliance. What began as a quiet journey through corridors filled with equations had now become something far greater, an unstoppable ripple that touched lives beyond what she could have imagined. The conference was one of the most prestigious gatherings in the tech world. Innovators, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders were there to hear about advancements that would shape the future. And Elena, once the cleaner no one noticed, was now a featured speaker. She walked to the center of the stage with quiet confidence, the kind not built on fame, but on truth. She began not with a technical breakdown of her quantum-resistant cryptographic model, but with a story. Her story. "I used to clean classrooms here," she said softly. "I pushed a cart through these same buildings, listening to the hum of machines and the silence that came after everyone had gone home. I wasn't supposed to belong in those rooms, but I stayed. I learned in the dark. And one night, I solved something no one else could." The silence in the room deepened, not from disinterest, but from awe. People leaned in, drawn by a voice that didn't demand attention, but earned it. She spoke of resilience, of sacrifice, of watching her mother fight to live while she fought to keep a dream alive. She shared how, with no titles, no lab access, and no support, she broke through a wall of impossibility armed only with knowledge, determination, and belief. And then, she talked about what came next, not just her rise, but her mission. Elena had declined the offer to become a high-paid executive in the company that once recruited her. Instead, she proposed something different, a program to identify and empower hidden talent across the world. People who, like her, were unseen, but capable of brilliance. Her proposal led to the creation of the Unseen Minds Initiative, offering scholarships, mentorship, and access to education for those with genius trapped behind circumstances. The audience rose in a standing ovation. But for Elena, The applause wasn't the reward. The real victory was back home, where her mother now walked unaided to the window every morning to water her plants. It was in the letters from students who said her story gave them the courage to believe in themselves. It was in the quiet places, just like where she started, where others were beginning to whisper, "Maybe I can too." Elena Rivera's name became known not just in tech circles but in homes, in classrooms, in communities where hope had once faded. She had become more than a pioneer of encryption. She had become a symbol of possibility. And though the world now listened when she spoke, Elena never stopped listening to the same silence that once held her back and later helped her rise.